This concludes the awards and scholarships portion of this evening's celebration. At this time, then, I would like to please welcome Nancy Stotts-Jones to introduce your valedictorian.
Every year, the graduating class selects one person to deliver the valedictory address. It's a farewell, but it's also a memoir of their passage out of adolescence and into maturity. Not everyone can tell that story. This year's valedictorian has the eloquence and the noble sweetness to tell it to us. I am honored. I'm serious. I am honored to present to you the valedictorian for this year's graduating class, Stan Temming.
You're clapping and I haven't even said anything yet. I like it. Good evening, distinguished guests, parents, teachers, and fellow graduates. Isn't it strange that we can call ourselves that now? Graduates? Man, do we grow up so fast, don't we, parents? I'd like to begin by thanking everyone who helped out to put together this fantastic evening. Thank you to all the teachers and the many subcommittees that you've poured your extra time into. We know that you're busy people and appreciate all the time you've put into these committees. Thank you to Mr. Gilbert and the Symphonic Band for sitting around, looking pretty, and providing the entertainment for tonight. It's been fantastic. Thank you to everyone who showed up this evening to support us, including parents, siblings, grandparents, and friends. Thank you to my favorite grade 12 English teacher, Ms. Stotts-Jones, for introducing me this evening. It's the truth. And thank you to Mr. Wilson for straightening out my tie, because I had it all wrong. And finally, thanks to all of you for putting me on this stage. I have no idea what you were thinking, but I'm truly grateful and honored for the opportunity to address you, Central's graduating class of 2013. Now, I want to be completely honest with you. I did it again. When it came to writing and preparing this address, I I procrastinated. So, a few nights ago, I did what I always do whenever I put a project off to the last minute. I went on to Wikipedia to see if there was a speech available. Sure enough, there was one there, and that's what I'll be telling you this evening. Now, I know what you're all thinking. How could you do that? How irresponsible. But don't worry. I have a works cited page at the end of my address, and I've given the author full credit. Thank you, English teachers, for helping me avoid plagiarism. But in all seriousness, wow, we made it. After 4 years, we're officially high school graduates. This is truly something to be proud of. Only 50 months ago, we entered Stratford Central as Niners. The year before, in 8th grade, we were the top dogs. We were the fastest, the smartest, and some of us, mostly the girls, were the tallest. Life was good. Then, after 2 months of summer break, we were stripped of our honors and knocked right back down to the bottom of the food chain. That was but the beginning of the sobering experience that was secondary school. Coming from a small country school, I remember being completely overwhelmed just by the size of Central, the great number of people in the building, and the physical size of these new people. It felt like I was in kindergarten again. The only difference was I didn't need to pull down my pants to my ankles to use the urinals anymore. True story. Embarrassing but true. When people speak of high school, they always talk about how great it was. How was high school when you were growing up, Dad? Well, son, it was the best 4 years of my life. People always say that about high school. And don't get me wrong, high school was great. Whether you truly enjoyed your time at Central or just counted down the days until you could legally leave, we had some fantastic memories from our time here. As Rams, we experienced 4 years of dragon boating and waiting in enormous lines for hot dogs at the regatta. 4 years of crazy spirit weeks where we got to witness Pavan Savhoda's wide array of facial hairs, as well as Dylan Woodley's wide array of fake facial hairs. Mark Vianney, you tried too, I guess. A little patchy. We experienced 4 years of Christmas assemblies where we were entertained by the many talents of the art department. 4 years of intense sports where, whether you were watching or participating, all you wanted to do was see those darn St. Mike's Warriors lose. 4 years of the best announcements, both sides of the Avon. And last but certainly not least, 4 years of Ramcast. But I can't take too much credit for it was Dylan and Mr. Matt Jean that were the driving forces behind the fantastic work that we did this year. Cole Moranger, myself, and the rest of Central were just lucky to tag along for the ride. Tonight is a celebration of these 4 years of experiences. However, to say high school was 4 years of only good times would be a complete lie. We endured 4 years of late nights, completing projects that we procrastinated on. We had to deal with the stress of 8 exam weeks where, every time, without fail, we forget how to study effectively and end up cramming in the halls at the last second. In grade 9, we all had to do the beep test for a compulsory gym credit. Some of us, twice. Yet, in hindsight, I never really understood the point of taking a mandatory gym class at Central. I think we got enough of a workout climbing up and down all those stairs in between classes. Also, during grade 9, most of us experienced the horror of sitting in Mr. Armstrong's grade 9 math class. For 75 minutes each day, we were scared and uncomfortable. We also learned some math, but most of the time we were just scared and uncomfortable. I can still remember one of his lessons like it was yesterday. One day we walked into class and the word fractions was written on the board in big letters. Mr. Armstrong began his lesson by posing a question along these lines. In human history, what have we done when we're afraid of something? Hands nervously went to the air. He received a few answers such as, we avoid it, and we keep our distance from it, and we try to stay away from it. In the middle of about the 10th answer, Mr. Armstrong screams out, "No! We kill it!" Grabs a piece of chalk and starts furiously crossing... I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You're sleeping baby. Anyways, he crosses out the word fractions. That was the introduction to killing fractions, one of the scariest skills that we learned during our first year of high school math. Yet, we somehow survived it. In grade 10, we endured the dreaded tapestry project, the literacy test, and the excitement of careers class. Yet we somehow survived it. Then there were our senior years, filled with the stress of maintaining averages to ensure that we got accepted into our dream university and college programs. And look at all of you, sitting there with smiles on your faces because you made it. We made it, but not to the finish line. We made it to the starting line of life. Sadly, though, not all the members of our graduating year made it to today. Matt Clayto's journey into life after high school never began. His warm personality and laugh touched all of us during our time here at Central. He may not physically be here at this ceremony this evening. However, a part of him leaves with each and every one of us tonight. High school was our training for this moment. Everything that happened to us during that time of our lives has prepared us for the starting pistol of life to fire. Our time here, the good and the bad, has molded us into the people that leave here this evening. As many of you know, high school is a time of enormous change in our lives. We boys change from, "Hey, what's up?" to, "Hey, what's up?" to, "Hey, what's up?" We all grew, physically and emotionally. Boys mostly the former, girls mostly the latter. And in some way or another, we all matured. Now, some obviously more than others. You know who you are. The teenage years are a time of great development, and our experiences within and without the walls of Central shaped our personalities and our beliefs. One of the biggest influences outside of those walls were our parents. You've helped get us here just as much as our high school experience. You dragged us out of bed in the morning, helped us with our homework, and drove our lunches to school when we forgot them on the counter, rushing to catch the bus. But more than that, you gave us the support and the advice that we needed, whether we wanted it or not. When you look back at your time here, you will fondly remember all the good that came with Central. However, it was all the bad that prepared you for the starting line and the journey that lies ahead. The late nights working on school-related projects, due to your procrastination, taught us to plan effectively and take action to complete something on time. Or if you're anything like me, those nights prepared us for the late nights working on work-related projects due to our procrastination. Either way, we will be ready for it. The stress of exams prepared us for the stress of everyday life. As we become more independent, our lives will only become that much more busy and hectic. But we will be ready for it. As for all those stairs, they prepared us for a life of appreciating elevators. All of these experiences have made us ready for the rest of our lives, and we should be grateful for them. Coming into high school, I believe that what I learned in the classrooms of Central would prepare me for my future, my dream career, and essentially my life. I was dead wrong. Miss Stotts-Jones and Mr. Hindley, despite the many essays I wrote on Shakespearean works, I will never understand his plays. Ever. Mr. Bond, I can't tell you every step of the Krebs cycle from memory. Mr. Leach, I don't know the exact date that the War of 1812 started on. However, if I had to take a guess, I'd say around or during the year 1812. Mr. DeWeaver, I don't know how to graph an oblique asymptote. I said it. And Mr. McConkey, I couldn't even spell the word asymptote when I was writing this speech. I just typed something close to asymptote into Microsoft Word and spell checked the rest for me. But Mr. Armstrong, I review the lesson on fraction homicide weekly for my own safety. I've got that completely under control. Luckily, though, all of these things don't matter. The true learning of high school that occurred wasn't of the course material. The true learning came from the journey through the 30 courses that we completed to make us official high school graduates. Today is our starting line. When that starting pistol fires, no matter the path that you take or the speed at which you travel, you will be ready for it. Thank you.